Bonjour, hola, konnichiwa, guten tag, sveiki! We're delighted to be speaking to an audience right across the globe tonight. For the first time, this competition has attracted pupils from schools outside the UK. And we're thrilled to have them joining us this evening for our STEM Next final. My name is Gabby.
And my name is Yashka.
And we are your hosts for this evening.
For anyone that's not familiar with TechFest's work, TechFest is a charity which is based in Aberdeen, the northeast of Scotland, with a mission to promote STEM. That's science, technology, engineering and mathematics. TechFest runs a huge number of diverse programmes and initiatives within local schools and beyond. We are here tonight to celebrate the final of one of those programmes, the STEM Next essay competition. STEM Next was developed as a direct result of student and teacher feedback, and it is now in the second year we are running it. The STEM Next programme is a great way to gain networking experience, a great achievement to put on students' UCAS applications and to earn your CREST award. This year we decided to make a bold move and open STEM Next competition to all students across the globe aged 16 to 18. Students were tasked to do their own independent research and to write an essay on a topic of their choice.
There were 6 categories, and the students could choose which category they wanted to sign up for. The categories were
medicine and veterinary science,
space science,
food, drink and agriculture,
biological sciences,
technology and innovation,
and energy transition. In each category, as part of their research, every student had to interview at least one industry professional or academic who was linked to their essay topic. So we have to say a huge thank you to all the volunteers who signed up to be interviewed. I believe a few of you have joined us here tonight, and we really hope you enjoyed being part of this project. And just to let you know, based on the student feedback, their interviews with you were a real highlight and an incredibly important part of this competition.
It's so important that we are able to provide the next generation with a realistic insight into industry and academia and highlight all the diverse and exciting opportunities available to them. Our volunteers giving up their time to be part of this project has been hugely meaningful. And on behalf of everyone from TechFest, we want to thank each and every one of you for being involved and making this competition a success. We also want to give a specific thank you to the University of Aberdeen and Robert Gordon University for developing a fantastic series of lectures that gave the students guidance on all aspects of academic writing. I'm sure the students will agree that these lectures were a fantastic resource in addition to the live webinar programme that the students were able to take part in. These focused on specific aspects of the competition, such as interviewing, referencing and more.
We had over 500 students sign up to take part in STEM Next, and each and every one of you should be very proud of the work you've done. You certainly didn't make the assessor's job easy, and I can tell you that they were absolutely blown away by the high standard of your essays. Many of your essays were at the standard we would expect to see at university level or even within industry. So a huge well done to all of you. Even though you made the assessor's job incredibly difficult, we have managed to finalize the winning students for each category. For each category, we've awarded a first, second, and third place. Our third place winners will each be awarded £50 of Amazon vouchers, second place winners £100 of Amazon vouchers, and our first place grand prize winner in each category will get £150 of Amazon vouchers. In addition to this, the first place winners' essays will be published on TechFest's website to get the recognition they deserve. If your name is announced tonight as a winner, your prize will be on its way to you. In just a little while, we will have the opportunity to speak with some of our STEM Next finalists.
Tonight is really about celebrating the hard work of all the students who took part. Even for those who haven't made the finals, I do hope you were able to take away lots of positivity from the experience. And of course, none of this would have been possible if it wasn't for the fantastic sponsors. This project was fortunate to benefit from having both Worley and Technip FMC as returning sponsors, and Acciona, Energy Resourcing and Ocean Winds coming on board as new sponsors. The first category of the night will be Medicine and Veterinary Science. We are going to open tonight's award ceremony by announcing the first set of finalists of tonight. Out of all the essays, these were some of the toughest essays to judge. However, after much discussion between the assessors, we do have our finalists in the Medicine and Veterinary Science category. In third place, we have Elizabeth Abraham from Lancaster Girls Grammar School. Congratulations, Elizabeth. In second place, we have Anne Katerina Osiander from St Michael's Catholic Grammar School. Congratulations, Anne. And now it's time to announce the first place winner. In first place, we have Andrea Olsen from Seven Oaks School. A massive well done, Andrea. It was a fantastic essay to read, and the judges really were blown away.
I believe we have Andrea with us here tonight. Hello, Andrea. Congratulations. So where are you watching tonight's final from, and how do you feel?
Well, I'm from the UK at the moment, so yeah. London. I'm originally from Norway, so I guess maybe not that far originally. That was such a surprise. It's overwhelmingly nice. I did not expect to do that, but I'm just, I guess my passion for age research really came through in my essay.
Welcome from London. Well, Norway is still quite far away from Scotland. So it's great to know that STEM Next has reached an international audience. And you're absolutely right, your passion for the topic did come through. Moving on to the topic of your essay. In your essay, you were questioning if we can reverse the aging process, which I am sure is something a lot of us would like to do. So Andrea, can we and should we?
So we definitely can, as I did say in the essay, and I did bring a couple of arguments as to why we should and why we shouldn't reverse aging. There are a lot of ethical implications to keep in mind, a lot of political aspects, and a lot of thoughts about health and family relationships. And in my opinion, if we can provide people with a longer lifespan, considering that it's also a longer health span, then we definitely should, because then we increase the quality of life for those who are living at the moment. And if we have the possibility and the technology, why wouldn't we do it? So that's my general opinion on it. But then, of course, there are a lot of small details to keep in mind, which may not actually be that small after all.
I'm very glad to hear that it is possible, and hopefully one day I will be able to reverse my aging process. Thanks for sharing your opinion on this topic with us. Moving on to my next question. During your research, did you come across anything that ended up surprising you?
For sure. I didn't really think about the political aspects, for example, before, and I thought, wow, it would be really interesting to have, for example, political leaders lead for like 100 years without any change. And I thought, but how would the world look like in that case? And so that was something that I was really surprised about. Prior to actually, in preparation for writing this essay, I read the book Lifespan by David Sinclair, and I got a lot of my information from there. And I actually realized that it's physically possible to reverse aging. I never really knew whether it was true before, I guess, this essay competition, because I always thought, okay, well, I know some people are trying to do it, but is it really possible? And I found out that it really is. And that's very pleasing to know. It means there's a lot of ground for longevity researchers in the future.
Oh, I didn't think of that. But yes, imagining some political leaders ruling their countries for many years without any changes may not be the best. And I am glad to know that taking part in STEM Next has helped you find out that it is really possible to reverse the aging process. And Andrea, did your research change your own view on the subject?
I used to be super positive about changing aging and like increasing lifespan, but then all those ethical implications that I realized and those ethical discussions that we had with the expert with whom I interviewed for this essay really made me think that there are a lot of things to consider. You can't go head on into increasing lifespan without thinking about the health effects or the political effects and global implications as well. So.
Yes, that's very true. And speaking of the interview, how did you find the interview process?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I met a really cool expert in the longevity field. I found out he's not that far away from me. He's in the UK as well. And the discussion was really interesting. Like, I told him about the points that I would be talking about in my essay. And we talked about how some of them I should just kick because they were useless, but others, they would be really important. And we really discussed the details that I should include, for example. I'm going to keep referring to the political situation because I just found it so interesting. Anyway, we talked about the idea of having, for example, a leader who's not that respected, for example, by the people in charge of a country or in charge of some sort of association, right? And him not being able to give his spot to an upcoming member, somebody who's rising to a higher position, and how that would really affect everything. And so we really had these long discussions, which I thought was quite useful. I mean, even though it was one interview session, it still helped. And it was nice that these interviewees, I guess, responded really eagerly and were ready to help and were ready to discuss. It was nice that it didn't feel like a chore for them. It was rather something they would really want to do. So I appreciated that.
I'm really pleased you got quite a lot from it. And something that's great about this experience is you can keep in touch with the contacts you've made because you never know when having network might come in handy for you down the line. And my last question for you tonight, Andrea, is how did you come across STEM Next and what was it about it that made you want to take part?
So I've had a deep passion for science, I think, like since I was 7 or something. It started with like reading science textbooks just for fun. And then I realized, okay, biology is my kind of key. And now that I'm doing university applications, I thought it would be quite good to get some experience, for example, on my resume, perhaps do something of use, similar to work experience, but something different where I could perhaps even take part in a more like communal experience, which I think STEM essay competitions are a perfect chance to do. So I started looking for different essay competitions and I wanted to do something international. I have an international background myself and I'm always up for meeting international people. I'm really open to new connections. So I was like, okay, STEM TechFest International, it's science, it's got the aging topic. Perfect, my match.
Awesome! STEM Next competition sounds exactly like the perfect match for you. Well, I am so glad to hear you've gotten so much out of it.
Thanks so much, Andrea. It's fantastic to hear how much you enjoyed taking part in STEM Next. Okay, let's move on to our second category of the night. The second category of the night will be space science. Unfortunately, our friends at Worley, one of our wonderful sponsors, couldn't be with us this evening, but we did want to take this opportunity to thank Worley and all of our sponsors, as without their support, none of this would be possible. For TechFest, it's fantastic that we get to work with sponsors who care so deeply about STEM education and are always willing to go the extra mile. I'm now going to announce the winners in the Space Science category. This was a competitive category with an incredibly high standard of entry, so a huge well done to all of you. Our finalists are: in third place, we have Lou Linda Aberg from the Godolphin and Latimer School. Well done, Lou Linda. In second place, we have Iris Bear from Robert Gordon's College. Congratulations, Iris. And in first place for the Space Science category, we have Dylan Emery from Rugby High School. Well done.
I believe Dylan is also here with us tonight. Hello, Dylan. Congratulations. Can you tell me where are you watching us from and how do you feel?
I'm watching it from England tonight. I'm over the moon. I worked like hours and hours on it. That might seem like quite a lot, but I put a lot of work into it, and I'm really pleased with it.
England, amazing! You absolutely deserve the recognition, as we all loved your essay on a very fascinating topic. Where does space begin? So let me ask you this, Dylan. Where does space begin?
Well, as you'd think, I looked at the question face value and thought, I don't know the answer to that. So I took three routes into it. I looked at where does the universe begin, kind of as the origins of space, you could say. Where does the space begin from Earth? So like the boundary between the atmosphere and the start of space. And then I also thought that's kind of, I could look into a bit more, I guess. So I looked into where does space exploration begin with humans. So there's obviously three different answers there. I guess in short, you've got the Big Bang. There's this the carbon line, which is kind of globally agreed point of where we like enter space, I guess. And then space exploration started in the Cold War, end of World War II. Yeah.
Oh, wow, how fascinating. So many different ways to look at it. Well, I hope that one day you will be able to tell us the definite answer to this very question. And would you say that taking part in STEM Next has helped you understand more about this topic?
Definitely, yeah. Like before, obviously, I'd only done what I've learned in school, which is kind of GCSE level, and I'm doing physics for my A levels this year. And there's a part of that. There's a topic on that later on, but I've not got to that yet. So it's kind of enhancing my knowledge, kind of learning it earlier on. I guess I looked into quite a lot of aspects about space that I wouldn't have done in school, I think. So I'm learning more and a broader range of content than I would have done if I just didn't do it. I think it's definitely increased my knowledge on the topic. Yeah.
I am glad that taking part in STEM Next gave you a chance to dive into the topic that you're clearly passionate about. Although, I know that this type of independent research can be really difficult, especially with such a technical topic. So how were you able to overcome this challenge? Was it helpful being able to interview someone for your essay?
Yeah, I think the fact that I had to interview someone gave me a deadline for the whole process. I was thinking to myself when I started, I was like, I'll get the interview in by now, and then I can finish and write it up and finalize my report by whenever, so I can get it in time. So it kind of gave me like a deadline, as I said. So I had to do it by then, and it was definitely good for helping me structure how I was going to write out the report. Yeah.
And for the future students who will take on the challenge of STEM Next, when would you recommend to do the interview? At the research stage, throughout the writing stage, or perhaps after?
So I ended up doing it near the end, because I tried quite a few times to get different people for interviews, but a couple of them fell through, and it was a bit difficult. I say, no, it's fine. When I was working through it, I kept interviewing people. I kept emailing people questions with different things, asking more developed questions as I went through. So I had a greater understanding, and I could ask questions of a greater level, I guess. So then by the time I got to the end, the people that did reply, I got questions that were a higher level that helped me even more than if I just asked basic questions at the start, which I probably ended up finding out myself anyway. So yeah, it's definitely, I say interviewing throughout, but using the ones at the end and asking more questions is definitely the best way to go through it.
Oh, what a great advice! I am sure future STEM Next students will thank you for that. And how did you find the actual interview process?
Yeah, I thought the interview process was really useful. It gave me a different aspect of my report to include, and a different way of thinking. I think if I was just writing it all on my own, I could have wrote the extra words and filled out my essay more, but it would have just been more of my ideas, more of what I perceived from what I'd learned. So I think the interviews were definitely helpful, because it gave a different point of view, and then I could analyze them and compare to what I'd found. So it was good for comparing to what I'd already done and improving on it.
I am glad to hear that being able to interview someone gave you different perspectives on certain aspects of your topic, and that it was useful to compare them with your own views. And one last question before I let you celebrate tonight's win. Looking back, what do you think has been the highlight of taking part in STEM Next?
Probably the highlight must have been pressing the send button. It was definitely the biggest relief, but I think the whole report writing and getting through it, writing out my ideas and then editing them, like refining them. I think for my topic specifically, the photos are another great point. Photos of space, stars, galaxies, nebulae are really amazing. And I used a couple of them in my actual report, and just looking at them going, I'm talking about this thing that I can't see with my own eyes, but we've got a photograph of it and we can see it and it's really beautiful is probably one of the best points. Yeah.
Yes, you're absolutely right. The use of images for such a topic is a must. So well done for doing that in your essay.
Great to hear Dylan's experience of the competition, and thank you again to our sponsor Worley for supporting STEM Next. The third category of the night will be food, drink and agriculture. We're going to move on to our third essay category of the evening, the food, drink and agriculture category. And joining me to help hand out some awards, we have Ruth Cameron from Energy Resourcing. Welcome, Ruth. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, lovely to be here.
Oh, excellent. I wonder if you could tell me what inspired Energy Resourcing to take part in STEM Next project?
So I think that young people are the future of our industry, and STEM is at the core of everything that we do, particularly in the energy sector. And it's a great opportunity for them to get a network and show their skill sets in that area.
Fabulous. And why do you think it is important for students to be involved in STEM?
I guess, as I've already mentioned, STEM is at the core of everything that we do. It's the building blocks of our modern world, and it's so important for us as a race to evolve, and STEM is really at the centre of all of that.
Absolutely. Those are excellent values that align with ours at TechFest, so we're delighted to have you as a sponsor.
Thank you.
If I could ask you now, would you be able to help announce the winners for this category?
Sure, I'd love to.
Excellent.
So third place in the food, drink and agriculture category, we have Seneca Sayal from Plashett School. Congratulations, Seneca. And in second place for food, drink and agriculture, we have Erica Lavender from Bishop Stopford School. Well done, Erica. And so for first place in the food, drink and agriculture category of STEM Next, we have Anvit Sepal from Bancroft School. Congratulations.
We also have Avneet with us here tonight. Hello Avneet, congratulations on winning the first place in food, drink and agriculture category. I am very curious to find out which country you're watching STEM Next final from.
England, London actually.
Amazing! Another student joining us from London tonight. So, how do you feel about your win?
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, I didn't expect it, but yeah, that's great news.
You really deserve it. We loved your essay. Speaking of which, in your essay you discussed how different technologies have revolutionized farming practices. And also, you looked at the potential of those technologies to reduce the impact of farming on the environment. After having done such extensive research on the topic, what do you think is the future of farming?
So before I'd done the essay, I sort of thought that my essay would focus on pesticides and fertilizers as the main reason for like higher yields in farming. But I think my conclusion after completing the essay was that we've got to be much more focused on sustainable technology. So I looked into vertical farming and other more environmentally friendly forms of farming, but I found that vertical farming and isn't like large scale enough to completely replace conventional farming. So I think the future is integrating lots of different techniques, so vertical farming using artificial intelligence, and also I believe that genetically engineered crops are really the future as well.
Thanks for sharing your opinion on this. I really like how you say that the future is integrating different techniques as well as using artificial intelligence, and that genetically engineered crops are the future. I wonder what made you decide to write on this topic?
Well, I'm planning to study chemical engineering and maybe biotechnology at university. So I was always interested from that point of view. And also, well, I'd already done another essay, and I'd done a presentation at school on energy topics. So I knew I wanted to do something that I didn't know much about. I'd never really looked into agriculture. And so I was sort of excited to learn. And as soon as I started researching it, I found that there was actually a lot to learn and a lot that I found interesting.
That's fantastic to hear that you chose to write about a topic you didn't know much about and realized that there is so much to learn. I am sure you've done a lot of research on the topic, so I am just wondering if you came across anything surprising?
Yeah, there was lots. I think how much Dubai was investing in vertical farming, I was quite surprised by that, because you think of Dubai and them areas as well, a lot of their economy is based on oil, so you don't tend to think of them as very sustainable. But it was interesting how much Dubai is starting to invest in sustainable technology, and I think that's very promising for the rest of the world. If you've got countries that have previously been heavily involved in oil and other things, investing in more sustainable things, then it shows a promising future in terms of the environment.
That sounds very promising indeed. Would you now say that taking part in STEM Next helped you understand better about what you want to do in the future?
Yeah, it sort of reassured me that I was setting on the right path, that I would enjoy studying something related to the environment, sustainable, and that a career in STEM looks like something that I'm going to enjoy doing.
Amazing to hear that taking part in STEM Next reassured you about your future choices. And one last question, how did you find the overall interview process?
Yeah, so I think the interviews were the best part of my experience. I interviewed two people. So I interviewed Dr. Adam Price from the University of Aberdeen, and I spoke to him. Our interview was mainly focused on the biotechnology aspect, so golden rice, which is a type of crop that is genetically engineered to contain higher more vitamin A, which to combat blindness in developing countries. And then my second interview was with Simon Allison, and that was really interesting because he spoke a lot about vertical farming. So prior to the interview, I'd been very skeptical about vertical farming because I thought, oh, high energy costs, it's very expensive to start up. And he sort of convinced me that no, vertical farming is a financially viable option, and it is something that we should be looking into.
I am so pleased to hear that interview was the highlight of the competition for you. It really is extremely beneficial for students to get in touch with professionals or academics and talk with them about the industry they work in, as overall they do know the best. Well, congratulations again, Avneet. I'll let you go now and celebrate tonight's win.
Amazing to see Avneet chose a topic she didn't know much about and decided to write her essay on it. What a brave choice. All the best, Avneet. Thank you so much, Ruth, for helping us this evening, and we're delighted that Energy Resourcing were able to support the STEM Next competition.
Thank you for having me be a part of it, and Energy Resourcing have been really pleased to be a sponsor of STEM Next.
Thank you. We're now going to move on to our fourth essay category, the Biological Sciences category. Out of all the essays, these were also incredibly difficult to judge. Unfortunately, Acciona were unable to join us this evening. However, I'm going to read out a statement on their behalf. Acciona is passionate about supporting STEM education and have been delighted to support TechFest's STEM Next. We have been blown away by the high standard of essays written by this year's competitors, who should all be incredibly proud of their wonderful achievement. We wish you all the best for the future and have no doubt that you will go on to achieve remarkable things. Congratulations again to all the competitors of TechFest's STEM Next 2022. We are now going to announce the winning students in this category.
In the third place, we have Sophia Loren Mamo from Cheltenham Ladies College. Congratulations, Sophia!
In second place, we have Larissa Chan from the Tiffin Girls School. Well done, Larissa.
And now, in the first place in the Biological Sciences category, we have Hong Kang Sarah Gu from Brighton College. Well done, Sarah! We have managed to get a hold of Sarah tonight as well. Hello, Sarah! Massive congratulations on your win. How do you feel?
I'm really surprised. Like it's such a great honor because I mean I would never thought I could have even like been one of the finalists because I feel like it was a really different experience because I've never really kind of done like academic scientific writing because I know that's what we do in universities, and I kind of feel like it would be a great experience kind of to try it out before I go to uni. So that's kind of why I entered this competition. I didn't really expect to win anything or to like get a prize because it was mainly for the experience bit. So I'm really surprised and thank you so much.
You're very welcome. What a great reason to enter this competition. Taking part in STEM Next competition is a really great way to gain various important skills that will be required at the universities. Can I ask, what was the reason you decided to discuss the implication of genetics in conservation management in your essay?
Oh, that's a good question. I feel like because I've always really been interested in genetics, I feel like it's a really fascinating topic about kind of unlocking what's really made us us. And because I've never really thought about the connection between genetics and conservation, but then like in one of the questions, I saw the link between kind of applying genetics and genomics tools to conservation practice. And I thought it's really interesting because it's kind of linking to really big topics in like the science field. And I feel like for conservation, it is such a high relevant topic because especially in the 21st century, because of the depleting biodiversity and climate change and everything. So it's like a really important issue that we should be discussing. And I just feel like it was a really nice opportunity to like kind of link these two topics together.
I am glad to hear you find it very interesting and you found a way to combine these two topics together and talk about them in your essay. Would you say that your research had an impact on your viewpoint on this subject?
Oh yes, of course, because well, first of all, before I started researching, I had no idea how much genetics can be applied into the field of conservation, because I thought I didn't really see the link or connection between these two fields. But after researching, I feel like it's really important to kind of use genetics tools to especially when you make conservation kind of decisions, because sometimes I just feel like it's not what it seems like, like maybe conservation practitioners would think, they've got really low numbers in the population, maybe we should do this, but maybe genetics doesn't really agree like the decision. So I feel like it's kind of important to kind of use the available genetics and genomics tools to kind of guide the decision-making process.
It's great to hear that after researching the topic, you found the strong link between these two topics. I'm glad that taking part in STEM Next helped you discover that link. And how would you rate the interview process? Did you enjoy it?
Oh, I loved the interview process. I have to admit, at first it was quite nerve-wracking. I was kind of, I was quite nervous before interviewing because I've never really spoken to any like industrial professionals, let alone like university professors, and I just felt like this kind of pressure on me. But then during the interview process, it was amazing because they were all super friendly. Like it was just like having a nice chat with someone on like a topic that you're really interested in. And despite of like, the knowledge gap, they were all really happy to explain like whatever like I didn't understand, because I feel like sometimes I was quite conscious of, I don't know if I should ask them, like maybe it's like a really simple thing or like a really stupid question. But then I asked them in the end and they were really happy to explain it to me, which I felt really happy. And it was just really nice to have the opportunity to kind of talk to them. So I feel like it was one of the highlights of this competition.
There are no stupid questions, Sarah. Well done on being so brave and doing that interview. It clearly shows how much you've gotten out of it. Do you have any interview tips for the future students, by the way?
I feel like for me, I kind of like plan out what I'm gonna ask. I wrote down all the questions I wanted to ask, and I kind of not researched, I kind of looked into like, because I interviewed two university professors and one research scientist. So I kind of like looked into what area they taught in uni, or like what area is their research based on, so I could kind of like focus my questions on like the area that they specialize in. So I feel like it's kind of a good idea to kind of get an idea of like what they specialize in, and because I mean they are like the expert of the field basically, so it's a really nice opportunity to kind of just ask whatever you're not sure about, because they would be the best people to answer your questions.
Exactly. These are the people who are so knowledgeable about the field they work in. Thank you so much for sharing your interview tips. And the last question I want to ask is, do you think that taking part in STEM Next has had an impact on your career choices?
I think it certainly did, because before I was kind of really focusing on genetics and maybe like on a really like cellular level, or even like just purely genetics. But then after entering this competition, I'm now kind of thinking of maybe I should think more broadly about my like university degree, or like even my career choice. And I feel like it would be really nice to maybe be able to like work. I mean I have no idea about my career choice, but I feel like maybe it would be great to be able to work on something related to maybe both genetics and conservation. Maybe kind of, because like I think in my essay I talked about there's like this implementation gap between the research on genetics and the actual implementation of like what scientists have discovered. So I feel like maybe it would be great to kind of work in the like interface between the two.
Fantastic! I'm so pleased to hear that. Well, all the best in the future, Sarah. I am sure you will become an eminent scientist one day.
It makes me so happy to know how much STEM Next has opened Sarah's view on this important subject. A massive thanks to Acciona for helping us to support this competition. The fifth category of the night will be technology and innovation. We've still got 2 more categories to go this evening. I do hope you're enjoying hearing from our winners. Let's move on to the 5th category of the night, the technology and innovation category. We're delighted to have Roger McMichael from the Moray West project representing our sponsors, Ocean Winds, who is joining us virtually this evening and will help us announce the finalists for this category. Hi Roger, thank you for joining us. Could you please tell me, why is it important that Ocean Winds can get involved in projects that specifically target young people in school or college?
Ocean Winds is obviously a major offshore wind developer, and we are delighted to be supporting the TechFest competition. And we see this as part of our overall programme to support career pathways towards us in the offshore wind sector by supporting young people and students understand more about STEM subjects, and in particular the renewable energy sector. So we're very pleased to be supporting a range of programmes that help young people come towards our exciting and growing sector.
Great. And what made you want to get on board as a sponsor for STEM Next?
So our engagement with TechFest was prompted through our collaboration with CERC, and through that, CERC was able to point TechFest out as a great opportunity. So we were delighted to review that and get on board with the program. And we see that as TechFest has been a great tool for students to gain insights into the sectors that they've shown interest in through the interviews and then the research leading to the essays. And from what I've heard and the feedback that we've seen, the essays have been of fantastic quality. And it's great to see students so engaged, and that sort of indicates our decision to get behind TechFest, which sounds like a fantastic program.
That's brilliant. We're so grateful to all of our sponsors who've made this competition possible. I'm wondering if you could possibly help us to announce the winning students in the Technology and Innovation category.
So in third place this year we have Ekaterina Smirnova from Putney High School. So well done, Ekaterina, fantastic job. So in second place for the 2022 awards we have Jay Barv from Cambridge School in Bucharest. Congratulations, Jay.
And Roger, could you please tell us who do we have in first place?
In first place, the winner in the Technology and Innovation category is Amal Kamal from Lahore Grammar School in 55 Main in Pakistan. Congratulations, fantastic job.
Amazing! Let's see what Amal has to say about her experience of taking part in STEM Next. Hello Amal, congratulations! Which country are you watching STEM Next final from?
I'm watching it from Pakistan, specifically Punjab.
Wow, that is fantastic! We're delighted that STEM Next has had such a global reach this year. So how do you feel about winning the first place in the category?
I feel incredible knowing this. Honestly, just in disbelief right now, but thank you so much for the opportunity and just generally for choosing me as the first.
Well, we're all very happy for you, and we really loved your essay on the debate of artificial intelligence in the job market that specifically addressed the question of how worried the human race should be. So I am just wondering, what message would you like to send to everyone who is a little bit concerned about artificial intelligence taking over our jobs?
I would say that research is a very important element and that they should definitely look into it, because prior to this, I had a different point of view. And after researching, I obviously have a different point of view. But overall, I would say that the human mind is capable of many things, and among them will be artificial intelligence and developing it enough to help us in the job market. But I personally would not be worried that AI will be taking over the job market anytime soon.
That is great to hear that your viewpoint has changed after doing your research on the topic. Speaking of your research, did you come across any findings that ended up surprising you?
Yes, definitely. I definitely came across some very rather radical articles when going over a lot of the research content that I gathered, and that was surprising because I honestly didn't expect that. But they were definitely an interesting read, and while they contrasted very heavily with my point of view, I would definitely say that they opened my eyes to a very different world.
And would you say that taking part in STEM Next has helped you understand more about the topic, and do you think this will have an impact on your career choices?
I think it's definitely helped me develop my knowledge base about this. And secondly, yes, I do think that it's solidified my idea of what I want to pursue in the future. So I love doing STEM Next, and I would definitely recommend that everybody does it at least once.
I am very pleased to hear that you've enjoyed taking part in STEM Next. And would you say that having interviewed someone who works in the field helped you with your essay?
Absolutely. I learned a lot from him because he shared sort of the same ideas as I had. So it was refreshing to hear somebody who understood from where I was coming from, and someone who could add on to that. So I definitely think that my essay would not have been complete in any way if I hadn't interviewed Mr. Bernardo.
I'm so glad to hear that the industry professional you interviewed shares similar ideas to yours. That must have been rather reassuring to know. And how did you come across STEM Next, and what made you want to take part?
Yeah, our school really encourages extracurriculars, specifically international extracurriculars, and this one was very hyped up by our education advisors as well as our just our general career counselors as well. So from there, I learned about STEM Next, and because it seemed like the opportunity to mix two of the things that I loved, which was technology and writing. So I definitely wanted to take part in this. And this was one competition that I did not second guess, and I just knew that I had to do this.
Oh, huge shout out to the education advisors from your school for spreading the word about STEM Next. I am very glad to hear that STEM Next combined two of your passions together. And as someone whose English is not her first language, I could imagine that it must have been quite stressful to take part in a competition where you had to use the English language, let alone interviewing somebody who you've never met before. So I was wondering, what advice would you give to students who will take on the challenge of STEM Next in the future, especially for students for whom English is not their first language?
I would say that it's an opportunity to enhance your skills because, of course, whatever you learn at STEM Next, it's going to become a part of you. It's going to become a part of your knowledge base. So that's going to carry you forward. And there's no harm in obviously making mistakes. So even if you do, it's just going to get better over time. So I would say that even if you struggle a little bit with English, I think you should just go for it because you will get better over time, and obviously you're going to build on whatever you research. So it's a great opportunity, and it's going to be the reason you understand a lot of what's happening around you, and you can definitely understand the topics you choose better.
Some excellent advice there. Congratulations again on a fantastic achievement, and enjoy the rest of your night, Amal.
Best of luck, Amal, and we can't wait to see what you end up doing in your future. And thank you to Roger for helping us announce the Technology and Innovation category winners. The final category of this evening will be Energy Transition. And that brings us on to our last essay category of the night, the Energy Transition category. And here to help us hand out the awards, we're delighted to have Caitlin Gilmore from TechFest's, who kindly sponsored STEM Next. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much for having me.
You're so welcome. Can you tell us, what is it about TechFest that makes you want to keep collaborating with us?
Yes, so TechFest's enjoy collaborating with TechFest because it's a great initiative. It's fun, and our employees enjoy giving up their time to help out. Also, if we build relationships with students at this stage, then it will only benefit us in the future because projects like TechFest attract top talent, and through this collaboration, who knows, the students in this competition can be the future engineers and managers of the company. When I was at school, it was actually an initiative similar to this that encouraged me to pursue a career in engineering. And I thoroughly enjoyed studying my degree and the career I'm in today. So it's really nice to be at the other side of the table now and help inspire and encourage young people into STEM subjects, because I really do believe it is an exciting, challenging, yet highly rewarding career.
Fabulous, that's so good to hear, thank you. And why is it important that pupils engage in STEM?
It's important that pupils engage in STEM because the world is becoming more reliant on technology and the science, engineering and maths that support it. I mean, you really can't go through a day in your life without using something that is a product of STEM, and this will only become more apparent in the future when we become less reliant on manual labour and the use of robotics start to increase. So TechFest's also see standardisation and digitalisation as massive growth areas in the energy industry. So this progression that we can all see coming will only create more career opportunities for STEM related subjects, and there really is no limit to the innovations that can be made with a STEM foundation.
Thank you so much, that is so good to hear. I wonder if while you're here you'd like to help us announce the winners for this category?
Yes, of course, I'd be glad to.
Excellent.
So in third place for the energy transition, we have Mara Powney from Rickmansworth School. Well done, Mara. In second place for the Energy to Transition, we have Diane de Norenville from Lycée Français de Gaulle de Londres. Congratulations, Diane. And our last winner of tonight is Katani Kota from Delhi Public School. Congratulations.
A massive congratulations! Hello, Katiaini! So which country are you watching STEM Next Final from?
I am watching from India.
Yay! Another country from far away from Scotland. And how do you feel about winning the first place in the category?
Awesome. I didn't expect that. I was really just hoping for the best. That's awesome.
You did so well on your essay. You truly deserve the recognition. In your essay, you talked about a very important issue and looked at the ways the world is trying to tackle the energy crisis. You specifically answered the question of how are we using renewables to solve the energy crisis and what more should we do. I can see that you've done extensive research for your essay, and I'm just wondering what more, in your opinion, we should do to tackle the energy crisis.
I think the most important thing that we need to change are our policies, because after doing all of my research, I've realized that we do have a lot of solutions, but we just don't have the policies and the infrastructure to kind of implement them. So I'd say that is the most important thing right now. And I also now feel like it's not just like personal changes. There also need to be large industrial changes for the crisis to actually be solved.
I am pleased to hear that, as you say, there are a lot of solutions to tackle the crisis. Perhaps all we need now is young people like you stepping in and challenging those policies. Was there anything that surprised you when you were doing your research?
Yeah, I actually had no idea that you could use like hydrogen as a fuel, and I had no idea especially about all of the technical issues that come with implementing like solar and wind power that we hear about a lot. So that was definitely very surprising.
Excellent to hear you've learned so much out of it. And how was the interview process? Did you learn from it too? And do you have any tips that you would like to share with other students?
It was very nerve-wracking at first. I've never emailed someone and asked if I could interview them, but it was definitely a very unique experience, and I actually really enjoyed it. A lot of them were very helpful to me, and I just found it very educating. So I recorded all of my interviews. I think that's a no-brainer, but I emailed them my list of questions beforehand so they could also be prepared about what was going to come. And that really helped both of us be on the same page when talking. So I definitely recommend that.
Amazing tips! Would you now recommend taking part in STEM Next?
Yes, I actually was very unsure about how to go about the whole process when I started, but it just taught me so much about time management and how to research, etc. So I definitely think it's a very important experience.
Yes, projects like these are a great way to develop your meta skills further. So I am glad to hear it helped you develop your time management skills. And looking back, what has been the highlight of taking part in STEM Next for you?
I would definitely say in the interviews with the professionals, just because it was so new, yet it was just so interesting.
Amazing! One last question before I let you go celebrate on your victory. After having done your research and learning so much about the energy industry, is this the industry you see yourself in the future?
Definitely. I think it's one of the top career paths on my list. I'm still deciding, but it's definitely opened a lot of doors for me and kind of opened up my view about what the energy industry is.
Oh, sorry, Katiaini. Just to be clear, do you mean that taking part in STEM Next opened up your view about the industry?
Taking part in STEM Next has made me understand what the industry is and has made me very interested in it.
I can't wait to hear what you end up doing, and I'm really glad that taking part in STEM Next gave Katiani a little more insight into this industry and opened up her view. And huge thanks again to Caitlin for joining us this evening and helping us announce the winners.
Thank you very much for having me, and again congratulations to all the students who took part and to the winners.
Thank you. That's everything from us tonight. Once again, we want to say thank you to all of the volunteers who gave up their time to be part of STEM Next. Thank you to the sponsors, Acciona, Energy Resourcing, Ocean Winds, Technique FMC and Worley, who made this project possible.
And finally, a huge thank you to all of the incredible students who took part. You guys are the real inspiration, and you should all be incredibly proud of yourselves.
Please make sure to check out the TechFest website and follow us on our social media channels for all of our news and future competitions.
Good night, bonne nuit, buenas noches, oiasumi, gute Nacht, viso gero.